Hello, it's February 20th, 2012. Hope everybody had a good weekend. God knows I did. I was at Denton's in South Tampa. You should check it out sometime. They've updated their security and they're no longer tolerating ignorance, drugs, marijuana, anything that nonsense. If you see it, smell it, report it. Heck, even get the a person's photo on your cell phone and then report it. All the better. I mean, marijuana, even medicated marijuana, is bad for you. It causes memory loss, schizophrenia. Take it for somebody who's worked in nursing homes. That's usually where you end up 90 years later. Can't remember even who you are. It's no greater than secondhand smoking. I mean, you're endangering the person next to you. How selfish is that if you're inhaling that stuff? Now, to me, that stuff's just a waste of crap anyway. You're only frying your brain cells. Continuing on, after that health discussion, being in the medical field, let's turn to the Bible, the Gospel according to Mark. And we're going to, let's see here. Actually, my bad. 2-1. Jesus heals a paralytic. When he returned to Capernaum after some days, it was reported that he was at home. So many gathered around that there was no longer room for them, not even in front of the door, and he was speaking the word to them. Then some people came bringing to him a paralyzed man carried by 4 of them. And when they could not bring him to Jesus because of the crowd, they removed the roof above him, and after that, having dug through it, they let down the mat on which the paralytic lay. When Jesus saw their faith, he said to the paralytic, "Son, your sins are forgiven." Now some of the scribes were sitting there questioning in their hearts, "Why does this fellow speak in this way? Is it blasphemy? Who can forgive sins but God?" In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Obviously, miracles do happen. Where there's faith, there's hope. Where there's hope, there's faith. Only you can change your life around for the better, not for the worse. Remember, if you watch my previous videos, what's my favorite quote? There are no easy roads in life. This is so true. I mean, you go through life, if you're not happy with what you're doing, change it. You gotta go outside your shell. I mean, that's how mankind's greatest achievement is accepting the willingness of change. Do you know environmental talk? There's enough plastic bottles to go around 169 million times around our planet. That's actually a fact. It was on National Geographic. They were discussing what happens when the world ends. Why you should recycle. Why wait until these plastic bottles, pieces of them floating in the ocean, end up in your seafood? Why wait there? Obviously, if you're not thinking of recycling for yourself, think of recycling for the future generations of mankind, the children of this world. Not exactly a pretty picture watching some kid, 5-year-old, swimming in the ocean, choking up plastic pieces. Why not take part and recycle? Personally, I use a Brita filler. I don't exactly use these plastic bottle mumbo jumbo nonsense. I mean, it's a waste of money. If you use that on a tank of gas, the amount of 12 packs you're paying, plastic water per bottle. I mean, get a Brita filter, it'll last you a whole dang month. Rinse it out first before using it. Pour in the water. When it's crystal clear, how do you know it's done? Well, it's good for a month, depends on where you're at in the saves you from going to the nearest store and buying you plastic bottles all over again. You could have used that on your car, a cruise, a vacation, what have you. That's an environmental issue. Be a part of the solution and then instead of a part of the problem. Alright. Now I'm turning to Fire Angelus, what he wrote today at church. By the way, Catholics, all Catholics around the world, don't forget Ash Wednesday is what day? And depending on what time your church schedules Mass on Wednesday, you might want to check your local listings wherever you are in the U.S. and around the world. And I know the church I go to, they're having 2 Masses. Actually, if I've seen it correctly. Ta-da! Just to hold that up a little closer. Don't forget Ash Wednesday for Christians is the 22nd. That's what you do to your forehead. Alright? So be prepared. Don't wear heavy makeup, ladies. Especially when you get these ashes on your forehead. It does not look too good with Cosmopolitan, mind you. Just fair warning. I just thought I'd throw that one out. If you're coming to church on Wednesday, do not wear too much makeup. Because you're going to have your forehead decorated like everybody else. It doesn't hurt. There's no pain. Not at all. It's just ashes, that's all. It's like finger paint across your forehead. It's a matchstick. It's a single respecting paying respects toward God, Messiah. And it's here. I know downtown Tampa, if you're visiting Sacred Heart, they will be packed. And chances are it's the same time, 8 or noon. And I want to get there an hour early. Trust me on that. Because you're not the only one thinking of getting there and having the perfect spot. I could just see your mouth drop at the traffic light already. Looking at the time. And you're still standing there at the traffic light. That's for most of you here in South. Because while you're sitting there thinking, that's my motivational support. Alright, let me see here. Yep, 8:30 and 12 p.m. and no. Okay. Yep. 8:30, 12 noon, and 7:30 p.m. Alright, people. Put that on your calendars. Just for Sacred Heart, check their local listings online. For those of you here locally in South Tampa, Florida. Those of you around the world, check your church, call your priest, call somebody. Trust me, they already know the answer. If you didn't go to church today, that's Wednesday's the 22nd. That's usually what takes place during Mass. Not too bad. Still least I can do. Moving right along. A note from Father Angelus at St. Patrick's. My dear friends in Jesus, today we come to the last Sunday in Ordinary Time before the holy season of Lent. Lent will begin on Ash Wednesday, February 22nd. The word Lent is an ancient Germanic word which early meant spring or springtime. In most languages, the word used for this season is the 40 days. This season was instituted by the Church as a time for preparation of the Easter Triduum. The Easter Triduum, the most solemn feast in Christian calendar, is the celebration of the Paschal mystery, the Passion, Death, Resurrection, Ascension of Jesus. Oh, you didn't know that, huh? You want me to read that again? How about 3 times fast? Try it backwards. Ascension of Jesus Christ, Lent, 40 days. Now say that 12 times fast. There you go. Got it now? See your mouth drop. But that's what you're listening for. Alright. The season was instituted by the Church at time for preparation of the Easter Triduum. The Easter Triduum, the most solemn feast in the Christian calendar, is the celebration of the Paschal mystery, the Passion, Death, Resurrection, Ascension of Jesus. The feast is more than a celebration or remembrance of the resurrection of Jesus, which is actually true. We celebrate the resurrection every Sunday when we celebrate Mass. We also celebrate aspects of the Paschal mystery during the entire year. Lent, however, is that special time when my focus is given exclusively to Jesus' Paschal mystery, our participation in the mystery. We use 40 days because that is the number of days Moses remained in God's presence without eating or drinking before he received the 10 Commandments. You ever watch that movie? Awesome movie, the 10 Commandments. Especially the classical one, 1950 or 1940. Moses takes on everything. We use 40 days because in the number of days Moses remained in God's presence without eating or drinking before reading this again. He received the 10 Commandments. It's also the time that Jesus spent in the desert without eating or drinking in preparation for his public ministry. It is the time that we spend in prayer and fasting and doing good works in preparation for the joining in Jesus' Paschal mystery. Today's gospel, I have to admire the 4 men who found a way to get the sick person to Jesus. Who could have ever thought to climb up the roof, take off the tiles, and then lower the paralyzed man in front of Jesus? Who would think of that? And that's a real friend. Someone that actually go up on your rooftop and find a way to get you out without injuring you more, of course. Just to bring them in front of Jesus himself. How often do we miss the opportunities that lie before us simply because it has never been done that way before? Firemen do this all the time. They can't get into your building. Chances are they'll be digging their way through the roof or the window. The battle axe. God bless. Fire department, policemen, and they'll get to you sooner or later. Hacksaw, you name it. They got the works on them trucks. How often do we miss the opportunities that lie before us simply because it has never been done that way before? Most of us like the tried and true. We're comfortable with what we know, yet what are we missing by clinging on to the familiar? The Jewish authorities today are good examples of people comfortable with what they know. Jesus did not fit their criteria for a messenger from God. Their hard hearts and blind eyes missed the Messiah who was in the midst. Today's gospel challenges us to open ourselves up to new possibilities and new ways of seeing things. It challenges us to look at our relationships with God and with others in a different light, to think outside the box. Again, remember when I was talking about you gotta get outside your comfort zone, explore your options. If you watched the other video from last weekend, Plan A fails in life, there's always Plan B. It's never too late to turn your life around. Everybody deserves a second chance, whether you believe in yourself or not. God's there for you, because trust me, that guy ain't missing a thing up there. Perfect movie for that. Watch The Lost City of Angels. Meg Ryan and Nicolas Cage. Makes you really think. Or The Ghost. Patrick Swayze. Demi Moore. I showed a couple of videos. Check it out. Makes you really think who's actually watching out for you in the afterlife. And trust me, they got all the notes. What you do unto others, come back unto you. Must repent for your sins. Because trust me, some people are actually holding the keys to both sides. You need someone in Jamaica to help you. I think not. There are some serious Jamaican breeds out there. Today's gospel challenges us to open ourselves up to new possibilities and new ways of seeing things. It challenges us to look at our relationship with God and with others in different light, to think outside the box again. God comes to us in ways we can never again, the beggar on the street, the grouchy neighbor, the needy family member with open hearts and willing spirits. May we recognize God's presence among us today. The exercise of Lent calls upon to open our hearts to deepen our relationship with Jesus by joining him in his journey to his destiny. Do we do this by surrendering our traditional desserts, or giving up certain drinks or activities, or to refrain from sweets, etc., pie, cheesecake, cookies? Does it mean to the heart? I beg. What can I say? See what I said? My cookies, I call them the diet breaker. One smell, resistance is futile. Good. Grandma was Miss Betty Crocker. She knew everything. If there was something wrong with your cake, cookie, what have you, she knew how to fix it right away. For a retired nurse. Plays bingo Wednesday nights. God bless her. Right to this day, and she's still trucking. Do we do this by surrendering our traditional desserts, again, or giving up certain drinks or activities to refrain from sweets, etc. as part of Lent? We do these activities every Lent, and by now they routine do not call us to holiness, nor to journey along with Jesus. How about fasting from TV? God forbid, if after the poor population all was done, stop watching that high contraption of technology, that brainwaves a black and white screen. You farmers wouldn't have a cow if you didn't have a TV or a football in front of you, huh? I think the stock market would be on pause for a day. With an expression like this. For hours, I would have to come inside your apartment and look at you, and you'd be stone cold. Just to be brought back to reality. Snap out of it. It'll be alright. There's a whole world outside. Turn the TV off once in a while and join a new activity. Sports. Volunteer at a hospital, children's ward. There's always someone in need. Trust me. You can't actually say you saw or done something until you actually seen it with your own eyes. Then you have no reason to complain of your life. Pays to volunteer and help out once in a while and take your frustrations out on the gym equipment instead of out on your family. Only cowards take their frustrations out on women. Especially one particular person I came across before heading to McDonald's. I hope you got the message. Domestic violence doesn't pay. Just ends you up in jail, that's all. Especially in front of a video camera. Which is really why I didn't say much anyway. I mean, you kind of look on that store camera. I mean, they should put that on America's Funniest Videos. And then the day you die on your deathbed, that way when you're standing in front of him before judgment, you can actually say, I didn't do that. Oh, yes, you did. Don't do it. I mean, you won't get very far, even in the military. Demotion in rank, court martial, you name it. Months without pay. Navy SEALs crime. Hurting those that you're supposed to care about. Not a good idea. Especially not around me. Court martial will be the least of your problem by the time I'm done with you. That's before court. Before you. I've been next to you. Hitting someone. God forbid. You do push-ups from sunrise to sunset. If I don't do it, then your boss will. How about them? I'll sit there, drink some coffee over your dang sweating carcass all day. Push private. That's all I'm with it. Do we do this by surrendering our traditional deserts or giving up certain drinks or activities to refrain from sweets, etc.? How about fasting from TV or participating in a parish mission or rising earlier to read scripture before setting out on our day or catching the new mass downtown and a place of customary lunch or mass in our parish for those who are not employed outside the home. Perhaps thinking outside the box is the best way that we can take God seriously, and then God also takes us seriously. And His love, so true, is it not? Things we give up are sometimes sacrificed. Remember, one boat, we could go to a war-torn country, one piece of bread can feed 100. I was having this dream last night, and I was talking to some farmer, and I said, look, why on earth should that child starve? I recall telling this farmer. Who says you have to eat plant crops, vegetables, and a farmland? People do it every day in pots. Perfect weather right now, right in Florida. It's unusual. Last year it was freezing and rain. So, plant a garden, you'll never starve. Don't then try telling me that your forefathers and the people that used to own that property before you took over that farmland didn't store that stuff in jars on a rainy day or when it rains. Pays to plant ahead. Most farmers have watched their videos discussing the environment, what happens in 2014. Especially in Central America, you guys need to start thinking about planting more trees. Sergeant Majors, red oaks, an acre and a half apart would be enough room to move your contraption and machines through. Trust me on that. Hold that ground in place. Use that grass I was talking about when you're not using your land. Plant some grass. Keep that soil from moving into desert soil. Which would you rather have? Soil to grow your crops or desert for miles? I think the average farmer would rather have crops than no crops. Remember, Mother Nature doesn't have a schedule. She does things when she feels like, and especially when you least expect it. 2 in the morning, no mercy. So an average Italian wine farmer, especially speaking of wine, I drank some wine all the way from Veneto. I recommend this wine. It's only available on this. Gotta keep them Italians in business. CASANOVAOFTHEWORLD20's Pinot Grigio. Benito. Grazie to all you hardworking wine people out there who make this tradition possible. White wine. Nevertheless, I hope somebody gets that message. In Italy. From someone military, that's an officer. Moving right along. Let me look up something right here. Comics. Look what we got here. What did Garfield do? Garfield sometimes forget does not want to be part of that all. And they pay back. John walks up to Garfield and he's laying in his crib. And Garfield, get up. It's almost noon. John says. No response. I know it's cold, but you can't stay in bed forever, John. He puts his finger on Garfield's head on bed area. Are you going to hibernate all winter? He pokes at Garfield. All of a sudden, John gets spooked. A grizzly bear face comes out. I knew this bear mask would come in handy. Garfield said. Scared the crap out of John. Imagine if you put a grizzly bear, people won't bother you that much wearing a grizzly bear mask. Sit on Billy. The Sarge walks by in the kitchen. The trouble with Cookie's breakfast is he doesn't serve cookies. Fortunately, Sarge walks by outside. Oh, chow, I don't need cookies. Cookies? Someone was in our office last night. Sarge walks into his office. Look at my cookie jar. It's knocked over. They really made a mess. Clean it up, the officer says. And throw out all those cookies. Throw them out, the Sarge says. Yes, the officer says. You don't know what filthy germ-ridden little beasts have been in here. The mouse in near the little hole. Yuck, I never realized I could be eating those guys' germs. As you can see. Amazing what you find in the office these days. God help you if your officer walks in before coffee and he finds a mice walking across his desk and runs off with his paper, his pen, and everything else. Not a bad April Fool's. Of course, only a genius would think of it. What better way to motivate him or her in the right direction? For one light and the 5 points of being alert in the morning before coffee. Of course, if you were smart, you wait till after. Your sibling, God help you. I'm still trying to get mine to go to work all of a sudden unannounced at 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning. Reminding her who's boss. Knowing full well by the time she gets there, as I said before in the previous videos, the idea is to make sure they're completely caught off by surprise. By the time they come back and find out that it's a weekend, what are you doing here? Question mark from their peers. You already skedaddled yourself back to bed, blockaded the door, and called it a night. Priceless. Do we need Visa card? Come on, shoot the figure this out. Keep trying. It's the least we can do, being a big brother, big sister. No way, no. No. Didn't do it. Wasn't me. That was a computer talking by itself. By the way, Parades Magazine Lifestyles, the new show. Lifestyles of the rich and treacherous. The night soap is back. And Madeline Stowe is its new queen of mean. Look at that, damn. Maman Bebe. What is the longest cartoon in the U.S. running to this date? I've been watching it since I got out of high school. A long time ago. Check it out. Simpsons. 500th episode. Imagine 500 episodes and they're hand-drawn. Not this animated mumbo-jumbo nonsense. I miss the good days of hand-drawn Transformers, G.I. Joe. Hand-drawn cartoons. The Simpsons. Ever seen Beauty and the Beast? Like the video I have on here? Perfect example. Of course, nothing wrong with Shrek. They did a good job with that area. Puss in Boots, Antonio Banderas. Check it out, it's on video. You need to buy the video for you. It's for a recommend it sound and higher. It's a counterpart. Simply words. Pink Shrek. Yeah. Being a kid at heart, I'm a Walt Disney fanatic. I must see the hard work, dedication, shine, the details, illustrated work. Not this rush put together, can't even draw a face. Stuff. That's exactly how I am when it comes to playing video games. I must see the work. I'm thinking of Skyrim, but I'm still working on that one. I'm in High Die Hard Halo. And the anniversary edition is already out. Check it out if you haven't got it. Visit your local GameStop. Gaming Electronics. Rent it at Blockbuster. They even mail it to you. Go online at Blockbuster. You'll be alright. Local, right here in Tampa. How many people ever traveled along the longest road in Tampa? Dale Maybury. I recommend coffee before entering Dale Maybury. Be very alert. Don't use cell phone. Big mistake. Watch out for video cameras. When they say stop, they mean stop. When they say go, it means green, drive. Like our parents taught you, God forbid. If you don't drive and you fall asleep in the middle of red when it turns green, only to realize green actually means go, not stop and fall asleep. Like some people like myself wanting to stay next to you. For the love of God, could you just move that metal piece of contraption 4 to 5 feet so I can pass you by and show you what it really means to drive safely? Do you see why people like bringing me along in the passenger side? Because I always have something. Do we need every Coach football movie to figure this out? Hello? I mean, heck. Speaking of which, Dale Maybury, the story is actually true. Why it's called Dale Maybury? As you can see, history here in Tampa, Florida. Maybury the man. Yes, Captain Dale Maybury, seated on the right, is shown with some crew members of the Roma, the largest dirigible in the world. In 1921, only 11 of the 45 officers and crew survived the dirigible crash on February 21st, 1922, in Norfolk, Virginia. Now, ain't that a big air balloon to travel on? You see that? Imagine going around the world with that. The Maybury the Man, Tampa thoroughfare, is named after an Army captain who died in a dirigible crash. One of the most common Tampa-related questions I am asked is, who was Dale Mayberry right here in South Tampa, Florida? The street. Why is it called Dale Mayberry? The question usually comes from people who have spent their fair share of time stuck in traffic. Iconically to the help you if you're feel for you if you're stuck there and it's 4 in the afternoon. Technically morning. Rush hour. Passing by the Buck Stadium. Coffee! Local Starbucks might be in order for you before entering Dale Mayberry. There's one on Ardell Street. There's one again before entering Dale Mayberry. South Dale Mayberry. Alright then. Right question, Tori. I said no. Being like, hi. Any emergency coffee? Must be Starbucks fanatic. If I was any more of a fanatic, I'd be moving myself with my TV in here. Just to help motivate them in the right direction on how they should make this coffee. Especially that part. Continue. The question usually comes from people who have spent their fair share of time stuck in traffic on one of the Hillsborough County's most important congested thoroughfares, rain or shine. Rain or shine, stuck in traffic. It is often asked with a tinge of anger as if Dale Mayberry himself is responsible for the traffic gridlock and miles of billboards and shopping centers right here in Tampa, Florida. So who is one of the area's busiest highways named after Army Captain Dale Mayberry died during a test flight of a dirigible on February 21st, 1922. In Norfolk, Virginia, born in Tallahassee, Mayberry had roots in Tampa. Two of his brothers, Milton and Giddings Mayberry, were prominent attorneys in Tampa during the first half of the 20th century. Their mother was Ella Dale Mayberry. Their father, Milton Harvey Mayberry, served as a lieutenant governor of Florida from 1885 to 1889 under Governor Edward Perry on Florida's Supreme Court from 1891 to 1903. Including a stint as Chief Justice from 1895 to 1987. Dale Mayberry served in the U.S. Army during World War I as a pilot in the fledgling Army Air Service in France. Following the war, Mayberry was stationed in Virginia and was part of the Army testing program, which focused on the use of dirigibles. In 1921, the Army purchased the largest dirigible in the world, the Roma. From the Italian government, testing soon commenced at Langley Field in Virginia with Captain Mayberry an integral part of the process. After several test flights, it was determined that the Italian-made engines were substandard, so they were replaced with American Liberty engines. It was during an early test flight with these new engines that tragedy struck. The Roma was operating at the altitude of 1,000 feet with their controls became unresponsive and began to descend rapidly. Then more bad news came from the crew. The keel was beginning to buckle, followed by future failure of tail assembly. Mayberry was piloting the airship ordered his men to release the Roma's ballast, large sandbags to make the ship lighter and to slow their descent. Mayberry continued to struggle with the malfunction, which resulted in the crash. Controls on the blimp continued to drop to the ground. He was last heard shouting, "Good God, boys, look." The Roma was careening toward a ring of high-voltage power lines, hence why you need to avoid power lines when you're launching an air balloon, or any kind of type of balloon with helium for passengers. The Roma was careening toward a ring of high-voltage power lines. The hydrogen-filled airship hit the lines and the ground at virtually the same time and was immediately engulfed in flames. The fire burned so intensely that emergency crews intentionally could not get close enough to douse them. When the fire was extinguished, the hopeless task of searching for survivors and recovering the dead finally began. Mayberry's charred remains were found in the cockpit. His hands were still gripping the wheel. His brother Milton made the sorrowful trip to Virginia to identify his remains. Milton made the sorrowful trip respecting his brother. Mayberry was laid to rest at Arlington National Cemetery a few days later. Of the 45 officers and crew, only 11 survived. The Roma disaster was at the time the single worst aviation accident in American history. The lessons of accident failed to take hold, and hydrogen continued to be used in airships rather than far safer alternative helium. 15 years later, the Hindenburg went up in flames in an early similar accident. 20 years later, during another World War, plans were made to construct a highway in Connecticut, Tampa's two primary Army air bases. McDill and Drew Field's planners named the road in honor of Captain Dale Mayberry. Dale Mayberry Highway officially opened on September 25, 1943. That's the day Dale Mayberry, the street alone highway, was established. A story in the Drew Field newspaper related the day activities. The war effort got a shot in the arm and Rough Riding Drew Field soldiers got a new deal in bus transportation with the official opening of the new 1 million Dale Mayberry Highway Saturday. The smooth, straightway concrete road, which greatly speeds important Army traffic between Drew and McDill Fields, was dedicated at ceremonies at the East Gate by Mabel Mayberry, niece of Captain Dale Mayberry. The highway's namesake, the new highway, actually increased the driving distance between the air bases, but the smoother ride compared them substantial standard Tampa Bay Boulevard was a welcome treat to tired soldiers. One cannot help but wonder what the soldiers of Drew and McDill Fields would think of today's Dale Mayberry Highway, or the manner that Mayberry himself would think of it. But the next time you were on Dale Mayberry, either stuck in traffic or headed to the grocery store, or both. Trying to remember the legacy of the man. Rather than focus on the frustration of the roadway. God bless Mr. Dale Mayberry and his whole family. Now, ain't that a tale? By the way, what's going on here in the city of Tampa? Put this on your calendars, people. Florida State Fair, February 9th through the 20th, 2012. The best time of the year, National Salute Day, Veterans Day, is February 20th. Free admission for everyone after 4 p.m. To get there, I-4 and 301, Tampa. Check it out online, www.floridastate.